Did they nab the Jan 6 pipe bomber? What's happening here? There's no way that they would arrest somebody who implicates the administration. So it's got to be like a Fed or a Democrat or a crazy guy, right? Libertarian from Virginia? No spoilers.
News alert, Pam Bondi.
As you all know now, early this morning, Brian Cole Jr. was arrested and charged with placing the pipe bombs at
God, he looks so funny all the time, man.
the RNC and the DNC on January 5th, 2021. He has been charged with violating 18 U.S.C. 844, which is use of an explosive device. This investigation is ongoing as we...
From the Ken Klippenstein article, here's the kicker. There was evidently no breakthrough in the investigation. In fact, the FBI reportedly had all the evidence in its possession all along. The FBI's case against the suspect is not based on a new breakthrough, according to two sources, but instead on a review the FBI conducted in recent weeks of evidence that it had already gathered and which the department had in its possession. It's good to know that the FBI is doing their business with about as much like gusto and competence as local police departments reviewing rape kits, you know? Like, they've just got a backlog of them going back, like, years and years and years. Yeah, we've gotten all the evidence. We've subpoenaed we got the logs and the info. We've got the security recordings. We just haven't had a guy sit down and figure it all out. That's great, man. Thanks for my tax dollars.
Search warrants are being executed, and there could be more charges to come. I'm going to let our U.S. Attorney discuss that shortly. This was the work of multiple agencies working together. This morning's operation was carried out safely and successfully. We know that there are so many issues when you're issuing search warrants. Dangerous things can happen, and this was carried out safely and securely.
Jesus Christ. Has South Park done any bits on Pam Bondi yet? I feel like Pam Bondi comes across as so weak and dim-witted that it's kind of hard to hate her. Like, she's an awful woman, obviously, but she's so obvious. She's not responsible for anything that's going on. She had shit in her nose, brown nose her. Okay, yeah. She's so bad at this. She really is. Truly, her only qualification was being a loyalist, you know?
To all of the people standing around me, they have worked tirelessly on this. Today's arrest happened because the Trump administration has made this case a priority. The total lack of movement on this case.
Who's this guy and why does he raid a press conference with these people? Well, part of it is probably them wanting to lock this one down because it's been an outstanding mystery for a while. And everyone, of course, assumed the pipe bomb guy was a rabid Trumper. So if he turns out not to be, that's like more evidence they get to throw in people's faces that actually the left are terrorists or whatever. Also, the FBI probably doesn't want you to think it's incompetent. Keep in mind, Trump has been president for nearly a year now. The FBI has not done anything. They're literally the federal police. We live in a police state. The government is authoritarian. The FBI hasn't done shit. And Kash Patel has apparently been facing a lot of internal pressure. Like, internal, I guess, like, both in the sense of within the administration and also in himself, like in his heart, to prove they can do something. They caught the Kirk shooter? Yeah, because the fucking family pastor told the police. The FBI didn't do anything. The FBI has done nothing. Nothing! Wait, if there's no breakthrough in the case, does that mean Biden's FBI sat in this? Yep! They had all of the evidence compiled from like 2021, 2022, and they just sat in it because they were like, I don't know, bored, making paper airplanes in the office. Why? Because they're fucking feds, man. They suck. None of these people are motivated by a sense of justice.
Our nation's capital undermined the public trust of our enforcement agencies. This cold case languished for 4 years until Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino came to the FBI. The FBI, along with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our prosecutors, have worked tirelessly for months sifting through evidence that had been sitting at the FBI with the Biden administration for 4 long years. Let me be clear, there was no new tip, there was no new witness, just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work, working as a team along with ATF, Capitol Police, Metropolitan Police Department, and of course, the FBI. We are working every day to restore the public's trust.
Like, she speaks the way that you would if you wanted to make fun of her in an ableist fashion. She already enunciates things the way you would if you wanted to make fun of her. So any parody of her would basically just be like a replication of her affect. I have no idea. People hate her, man. Like, people in the admin hate her. A lot of it is just because she's a woman, but she gets way more hate than Kash Patel, even though Kash Patel is fucking laughable and also Indian. You know? Like, you would, it's crazy that misogyny is so powerful that would overwhelm the rights, even their, like, anti-Indian bias, but she was the original pedo defender. What do you mean? Well, that's fine within the admin. They're like, that's everyone within this administration is by definition a pedo defender. They work with Trump.
We hope that today is a significant step towards that progress. We'll share more information.
Cash has a rack of Challenger coins. How is he not the lamest? Did you guys read the fucking leak where apparently Kash Patel refused to leave the jet after touching down in Utah after Charlie Kirk had been shot because he wanted to give a press conference, but he wanted like the FBI like tactical vest, and they couldn't find one in his size because he's this little guy, so they pulled one off a woman and then they gave him the woman's vest, and he was like, now give me the cool insignias, and they had to get a seam ripper to rip them off some other FBI guy's vest to stitch them on his before, and he would not leave he wouldn't leave the jet. He would not get in front of a camera until he was all primped up. Never kill yourself. Now, yeah, don't end it now. You might live to one day be as fucking funny as Kash Patel.
When we can and when it unfolds. I cannot stress enough how hard Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino have worked for months to make our nation's capital safer and to make our country safer. I'd like to introduce now Director Patel.
Thank you, General. When you attack American citizens, when you attack our institutions of legislation, when you attack our nation's capital, you attack the very being of our way of life. And this FBI and this Department of Justice stand here to tell you that we will always...
Also super funny that because these guys have no idea what they're doing, they actually miss opportunities to do their big oorah fascism speeches, and they default into the same banal liberal nothing speak that people like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were famous for. You know what I mean? When you threaten our institutions of legislation, you challenge the dream of the hope of the founding fathers, whose gift to our country secured in us all a future of freedom. Like, they all talk like that. Trump doesn't talk like that, thank God. He has a unique, he actually distinguishes himself, but they all don't know what they're doing.
Always refute it and combat it. We will provide the safest country the nation has ever seen under President Trump's leadership here. And that's what we did here today with great resolve on a case of massive public importance, as it should be. An individual who is now alleged to have placed multiple explosive devices to blow up multiple people and multiple officials, innocent civilians, is now arrested thanks to the brave men and women of the FBI and the interagency. I want to take a moment to thank the Metropolitan Police Department, the United States Capitol Police, our brave prosecutors, the Department of Justice, and our leader, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, whose relentless work on this case made this possible. As the Attorney General said, we did not discover any new information. What we did...
What about the same people Trump pardoned? Well, yeah, we shouldn't count our laurels on this one. The fact that this guy is going to be hit with federal charges means there's like a 1 in 3 chance Trump pardons him just by accident, The fact that he's associated with J6 ups the odds.
An investigation spearheaded by the deputy director and the ADIC of our Washington field office brought in a new team of investigators and experts, re-examined every piece of evidence, sifted through all the data, something that the prior administration refused and failed to do. As a result of that, we generated numerous investigative leads, executed multiple legal process with our U.S. attorney partners, and came to this conclusion today. And that is why we were able to safely secure this individual into custody. Remember, we are dealing with an individual who is alleged to have made bombs. We cannot do this sort of takedown in haste because it endangers the lives of law enforcement. And this FBI will never allow the lives of law enforcement in our process.
Wouldn't want to be too hasty, man. It's not like it's been 5 years since the fucking bombs were planned. Listen, we had to take this shit slow. Okay? Wouldn't want anyone getting hurt.
To be put in.
I'm mad on behalf of this guy because, like, I feel like at this point he should have just gotten away with it. You know? 5 years, this guy's sitting pretty. He's like, okay, yeah, that was like a crazy week in my life. I'm done with that now. I've gotten really into matcha, you know? And then all of a sudden the FBI busts down his door. That's fucking crazy.
Jeopardy. This execution was flawless in terms of teamwork, resilience, and just a good old-fashioned way of police getting the job done. When you let good cops be cops, this is...
He forgot he even did it. That would be me, 100%. FBI busts down your door, this you, holding up you at the Capitol. I'm like, fuck. This is so embarrassing.
What happens. I'm eternally grateful to the team behind me, to the leadership at the FBI who made this possible. But I do want to highlight when I introduced the deputy, he made this case and so many others, including Summer Heat, his priority to come in here and solve it for the American people. And today, I'm proud to stand here before you and say, we solved it. He will have his day in court. The American public and the world will learn even more information through the legal process, as we have committed under this Attorney General. We are the most transparent law enforcement operation in U.S. history.
Like, fascism aura points on the table, right? This whole, like, we've arrested him and now he'll go through court. Why wouldn't you want to do, like, a big speech about how this degenerate stood against the American, you know what I mean? Like, you're deferring back to the value of the institutions your administration is trying to denigrate. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you don't believe in due process? It's totally incoherent.
But we are also going to make sure accountability is delivered to its fullest extent. And that happens in the courts of law with our U.S. attorneys and our prosecutors. So we will divulge information when it is prudent and constitutionally permissible, while upholding the safeguards of this case to make sure that the people that this individual intended to victimize get the accountability they deserve, and most importantly, to deliver on President Trump's promise to secure our nation's capital and the rest of the cities in this country, to make sure that Americans are allowed to go out free and securely in their neighborhoods, and that people around the world are allowed to visit our nation's capital, and they now have that trust thanks to the leadership of the FBI, the Washington...
He's technically right about transparency. The FBI is leaking dumb shit constantly. That is true. This might actually be the most transparent administration. Let me put it this way, okay? If Trump was getting shielded by his aides as much as Biden was, we would have found out day 2 of his admin, you know? The Biden administration was locked tight. It took like we had to wait like years and for book, sales to get a inside scoop on just how much they were protecting Biden's addled old ass from the press.
Office, and I'm honored now to introduce to you Deputy Director Bongino, who spearheaded this investigation.
You're still around, man?
Thank you all for being here for this critical investigation we've been working on for a very long time. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words, Attorney General and Director. I appreciate it. Folks, this is what it's like when you work for a president who tells you to go get the bad guys and stop focusing on other extraneous things not related to law enforcement. This is what happens. We had a great team. I know it's said a lot in this business. It was a team effort. It becomes cliche, but cliches are useful for a reason because they matter. And this was a team effort. The director and the attorney general emphasized that it was not a new public tip this was our internal work at the FBI. And I want to just really express my sincere.
Oh, fuck. Sir, we forgot about a pipe bomb.
All right,
Sir! He had one extra. They had a dead man switch.
News conference is now wrapping. Dan Bongino up at the microphone there. Pam Bondi
Was that it wrapping? Was that how it was? That it wrapped there?
the announcement of this arrest of the D.C. pipe bomber. Gosh, 5 years later, John. Just a remarkable development. It all came down to that very grainy video that they were able to enhance and determine who this was and make the arrest.
Yeah, clearly some sort of technical error going on with the news conference there. We'll get back to it if we can. Right now, let's bring in Paul Moore, retired NYPD inspector, attorney and Fox News contributor. So as we suspected before, Paul, no new information, no new tips. They just brought in a fresh team with a fresh set of eyes, and they went through all of the evidence and developed, according to Kash Patel, multiple leads that finally led them to 30-year-old Brian Cole of Woodbridge, Virginia, who is now in custody in his home being examined by the authorities.
Yeah, John, so of the two possibilities that we posited, it looks like it was B, which is there was nothing new. It was just a set of fresh eyes, a new task force where everybody got on the same page.
That's so embarrassing, genuinely. It's just a good reminder of the fact that as embarrassing as this administration is, all of the rot runs so deep, you know? Like it's not just about like de-Trumpifying the administration. The fact that the FBI was sitting on this information for years and just didn't really look into it, they just had it sitting in a pile somewhere. It's just fucking embarrassing, you know? The media is going to glaze the FBI for this, but it is pathetic. And honestly, like in a sane environment, a sane news environment, the Democrats right now would be saying, what the fuck? Why was Biden's FBI sitting on this entire time? What the hell? But they're not going to do that. Brian Cole, yeah, they're saying he's like a libertarian or something. I don't know, you know, whatever. A lot of the J6 people were fucking incoherent anyway. I'm sure we'll get some funny, like, bits of his social media presence, or, you know, they'll say he was left-wing because he likes Bernie Sanders or something, even though he supported Trump. You know, whatever. Embarrassing. Why do you think there's so many religious movies being made nowadays? Are there? I know they're coming out with a new Jesus movie soon. But it's only releasing in like Christian theaters or something. Is there? Are there? Fathom Events got taken over by evangelicals. I don't know. I can't even pay it. I don't even know what's going on in like regular theaters, you know? They're making another David movie as well. I think that's the one that I've seen ads for.
And, you know, look.
Okay, so the announcement is that this pipe bomb suspect has been charged with the use of an explosive device. And
oh, they did eventually get back the press conference. How fucking long was it out?
The pipe bomber cannot be overstated. It is the resolve and determination of our investigators that ultimately led to the identification and the arrest of this suspect. We all know pipe bombs are dangerous, not because of the potential loss of life, damage to property, or injury that they can cause, but also because they are tools that terrorize our community.
Oh my God.
Fortunately, these bombs did not explode, although they certainly could have. But make no mistake, the alleged pipe bomber did terrorize our community.
This guy's fucking gold. Holy shit.
Today's actions underscore the long memory and the long reach of the FBI and our partners. I know some people had given up on finding the perpetrator, but not the FBI and not our partners. We do not forget, we do not give up, and we do not relent. Though it had been nearly 5 years, our team continued to churn through massive amounts of data and tips that we used to identify this suspect. I want to thank Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino for their leadership and for providing us the resources and the personnel to reevaluate all of the data that we had. We dove into more than 3 million lines of data to come up with this suspect.
Okay.
Director Patel, Deputy Director Bongino, thank you for your support.
Kind of reaffirming my belief that this is only happening because the FBI is desperate for some kind of win, like they really want to be perceived as more competent than they are. I feel like normally you wouldn't want to draw so much attention to a case that took you 5 years to solve. I think normally that would be perceived as, like, you would want this to kind of, like, quietly be addressed. It doesn't make them look that good.
Thank you for your passion, and thank you for your investment in this investigation. From me, on behalf of the investigators, the Washington Field Office, and all of our partners, thank you. I'd also like to thank Judge Pirro. Judge, your team and you are absolutely amazing. You're the type of prosecutors and U.S. attorney, that all of the investigators across the country want to work with. They're hard-nosed and they're aggressive. And thank you for that. Thank you.
And this case is big. 4 years, 10 months, and 28 days ago, in this case,
The U.S. Capitol Police and certainly the prosecutors at our U.S. Attorney's Office will go to the furthest length. I heard somebody say to the end of the earth, but thank God we didn't.
As I stated earlier, and as the general has already reiterated, our job is to provide full accountability in the court of law with Judge Pirro's team. And in order to
Thank you for skipping it. Well, no one's saying anything new. Like, there's literally nothing to say here, right?
do that, we have to preserve.
Any news on why her Secret Service team took so long to find this bomb at the DNC?
No, but what I will tell you is that evidence has been sitting there collecting dust. This wasn't a new tip. It wasn't some new evidence. It was the hard work of President Trump's administration, Deputy Director Bongino and Director Patel. I watched them from day one come in here and say, we are going to solve this crime. And they did, working hand in hand with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our great attorneys.
Pierre?
It does make me wonder if the only reason this happened is because they're feeding all of the FBI like case files into Palantir or whatever. Yeah. Just tossing that shit to Grok.
General Bondi, Director Patel, or Deputy Director Bongino, can you describe, was there a particular moment where the evidence is coming in and it's starting to look like progress is being made? What was the moment that you knew that you were on the road to solving the case?
Dan, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. I was smiling at you because I certainly remember the moment. Darren remembers it too. He said, "Are you sitting down?" He called me on the phone. I said, "Oh boy, why? Is this bad news?" And he said, "I think we got him." What exactly that tip was, we're going to have to pass on that for right now while we're still, obviously
There was no tip. It was all old information.
Prologue of a long book. This is just the beginning. This is not the end of the investigation, as you all well know, having reported on these for a long time. There's interviews to be conducted. The search warrant processing scene is not even done. So we're at the early stages, so that's the only reason I hesitate to tell you what the exact tip was. But yes, that was absolutely the moment, and it was due to the diligent and incredible work of a team in the Washington Field Office that came in and just scoured through this over and over and over and over again.
In general, was it forensic? Was it a phone call? Was it something about a vehicle?
We'll just leave it generally forensic evidence. Yeah, it's fair enough to say.
Okay, all right. Stupid. Oh, fucking dumb. Cash, check signal. It doesn't matter which group chat. That's good. God, they're all so funny. Such an unthreatening fascist administration. Dumb question, but it does sound like they're just going off a hunch this is the guy. No, I fully believe it's the guy, and they've just been sitting on this evidence for a while. Just weird. Weird.